So, I recently did a call with a guy named Mohammed Mushfiq Amin. I hope I'm saying that right, first of all. And he provides IT services from custom software development, website development, mobile app development, to even cybersecurity. And the main purpose of doing the call with him was to understand what are the challenges and what are the problems some people in the IT industry face. And the main thing he mentioned to me was sales was one of the most important challenges that any company would face, whether it's like IT or not. And then I went on to understand, cool, what is it about sales that is challenging, and whether he outsources it or whether it's like an internal part of it. And that's when he mentioned something important to me. He mentioned that he does everything internally. So he has a team that handles the sales part internally. And the reason why he does that is because he values data a lot more. So like confidential data being like one of the most important things. Which is why I am bringing you this video to help you guys understand what are the different ways you can make sure that if you have an internal team or if you are even outsourcing something, what are the specific steps that you have to take to do that, first of all, and how can you protect the data of your people, the clients that you basically work with, and what are the different ways that you can use SOPs to make sure that everything is aligned with the values, everything is aligned with your company. So I'll take it step by step. The first thing I'm going to focus on is on the NDA. So why is NDA considered such an important document? The reason being, you are dealing with client data, and client data is pretty much everything for you. So if you have client data with you, you have to protect it. And if you can take it like two routes for sales. You can outsource it, that's the first thing, or you can keep it inside of your company. So like internal teams, right? Either way, you are dealing with something sensitive. So you have to have like a good NDA. And a good NDA means you have to first specify what is even confidential. And in this, you have to specify like what data are you sharing. And the third thing that you have to specify is when is that data being deleted from the other party's computer on like systems or anywhere else. The reason why you need an NDA is because in case things go south, in case the data gets leaked, in case anything happens, if you have a third party vendor, then you need to make sure that if they are leaking the data, if they are mishandling the data, then they have to take responsibility for it. The way they are using the data is also important. How is the data being used? Is it for sale purposes only, or are they even selling them themselves? Right, so you have to answer that through the NDA. So that's how the NDA then becomes important. The second thing that you have to keep in mind is an SOP. An SOP is what we call a standard operating procedure. And the reason why it's important is it gives you like step-by-step ways that you can do something, right? So it could be like step 1 is to find leads on Apollo. That could be one thing. Step 2 is get the emails, right? Step 3 is verify if the emails are good or not. Step 4 is to actually send them a customized message, right? So you are literally giving them step-by-step procedure on how to do things. And this is mainly done for the internal teams. And now what you are doing here is NDAs, SOPs, and any other contract that you have, they go hand in hand now for you. Any 3-4 contracts that you might have, you can even have like separate deliverables, anything like that. It becomes part of one package, right? That one package is important now. All the documents that you have for one single person, that becomes one package now. Whether it's like an internal team, it's like an outsourcing team, does not matter. And you have to make reference for it. Like for example, if you're doing a contract with a third-party vendor, then in that contract you have to have the SOP reference. Like SOP number 123 will be followed for this specific type of project. For the employees, it's the same thing. You can mention the same thing. Now they can also be freelance. So you have to be very careful about that. The other thing SOPs can have is what are the quotas that every person is having, right? You can have like quarterly quotas, you can have monthly quotas, you can have yearly quotas. It does not matter. The SOP covers that, right? It could be a specific number, it could be like a specific percentage increase, anything like that, right? And then another thing that you can mention is what happens if that quota is not met. Steps to that are also given. You can either do two things. You can either fix the mistake You can give procedures to fix that mistake too, or you can have like a specific probation period or anything like that where you're just testing people, and then you can basically terminate that contract. That's the second thing that you can do. Most people go with the first thing because first option makes more sense. You have spent like so much time and money into hiring someone, so you have to like give them the benefit of the doubt that they might have not understood, or it could also be a reason that your specific SOP is actually not that good. So you have to mention that again, right? Now, what does an SOP in general have? The SOP in general has a couple of things. First of all, it has to have the purpose. Why is the SOP is being created? Is for this thing, it could be like sales targets, to achieve sales targets. And the second thing is, who does it apply to? Right? It could be like your lead setters, and it could be the people who go on calls, the closers, or it could be even be people doing the research work. It depends on like pretty much how you want like have your team set up there. And then responsibilities and then accordingly divided upon depending on who's doing what. Right, so the people that are getting the lead they are like going on a poll and they are getting the email list and everything else. The people that are doing the research work, they are actually looking at the market and figuring out which specific sectors can you target. The leads, the callers are like the closers, right? They actually just go on the call and they have all the specific criteria for like software or like service, anything like that, and they have the objections, everything going for them, and then they can go through that list and actually covered everything that is being asked on call. And the procedure is actually the step-by-step process on how to do everything. For the procedure, the main thing people do is they have a video. It could be like a Loom video or anything like that, right? It actually covers how, for example, how a lead is being taken, right? And then you can have it written in text. You can use ChatGPT here, where you can summarize the whole thing, the whole video. Summarize the whole thing, ask ChatGPT to create like a step-by-step procedure on how to do things depending on what the video said, and that will give you like a starting point for everything. Remember, the NDA, it's very, very, very important because you are dealing with leads, you are dealing with so much insensitive data there. The SOP is important because it's giving you procedures, it's giving you step-by-step on how things are done. And then there's the main contracts. The main contracts could be like a freelancer contract, independent contract, employee contract, does not matter. It's a contract that is being signed between you and the person. And these two things, the SOP and the NDA, they have to be mentioned there. And remember, always look to fix the mistake rather than remove the people from your team. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Understand what went wrong and try to fix that. And then as time goes on, your SOP gets updated. Every time you create an SOP, don't think it's the final version of it. There's always steps you could miss as a business owner. So always look back at the SOP, see where the step was missed and try fixing that. And the more you fix that, the better it makes you at hiring other people, because then you can hire someone else, any like third party, anyone new, and then you can give them this SOP and it will cover everything that they have to do. It will have the video and it will have the step-by-step procedure in text. So any visual learner can look at the video, any reader can just look at the text, and then you are always available there in case anything goes south or if anything does not make sense. So yeah, that's one of the main ways you are actually taking care of everything.